Yes, sir. So we broke the news yesterday, but today they made it official. They are expanding in 2024 the college football playoff to 20, not 20, actually, shoot. If we go to 20 teams, that'd be something. 12 teams. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. Do me a favor, hit that thumb up, hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. And we're going to look at a couple different articles. We got Yahoo Sports, we got CBS Sports, and yeah, I'll see what I can find on ESPN, but it's I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that there was going to be expansion at some point. I think everyone was looking to 25 or 26 instead of 2024. So we got not even 2 years to go. And I know some people probably like the 14 playoff. I like it too. Don't get it twisted. But in a way, there's where you have um, there's some benefits to it. It does make it easier on the committee because there's always going to be challenges like who should get the fourth spot. It'll make everybody happy. You do get a chance to give every conference champion the benefit of the doubt and get them in. Um, so and of course I see here in our YouTube text group chat, uh, everyone's saying that they want 8 teams. So I mean, yeah. But here we go. It broke 4 hours ago, right here, that the college football playoff. Now, yesterday, here's the thing about yesterday. It was breaking news that they were in agreement. Now, the breaking news 4 hours ago is college football playoff expanding to 12 teams in the 2024 and 2025 season. This per CBS Sports, this per 247 Sports. I see where College Game Day put out what it would look like right now if we had the current 12 team playoff. So, and I'm going to share, hopefully, I don't get copyrighted. I do want to quote sources, but let me pull up this video, and we probably won't watch all of it, but we'll kind of skim through it a little bit. And let me see under my history. This was CBS Sports HQ with Dennis Dodd, and then, this was Dennis Dodd. Who was this? I'm not sure who else. Oh, Jacqueline De Augustino. She was the host. So the breaking news that the CFP expands to 12 teams beginning in 2024 per CBS Sports HQ. Let me share screen and let's take a look at what these CBS sports experts had to say on the playoff expansion coming up in 2 years.
What are you thinking when you're hearing that the CFP is expanding to 12 teams in 2024?
First reaction is finally 17 months after a 12-team playoff was proposed and accepted by all those that need to accept it. We're finally getting there. What the stakeholders didn't plan on the SEC expanding Oklahoma and Texas and ripping apart the Big 12. And then the
I
Big
keep
10
forgetting about
and
that.
USC and UCLA from the Pac-12. That's been the biggest hang-up in this. And now the Rose Bowl finally, last night, has relented, giving up its desire to play in that exclusive window, January 1st at 5 o'clock. The parade will go on, the game will go on, but it'll be integrated now into the playoffs. So ESPN, who holds the contract for the next 3 years, and just the access for the teams that never would have gotten to be in. I mean, this year we'd probably be talking about Tulane playing for a national championship. Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee wouldn't have to worry about getting in if they do this weekend. So it's just a win-win, and it's finally here. 2 years from now, think about on or around December 19th, 2024, we will see the beginning of a first 12-team playoff.
And as you said, more access, more money. But beyond that, I guess, what are your expectations for the schools that are going to get in? Does this mean more?
This is where it gets interesting. So he's probably going to talk here about, are we going to have more competitive games? Is it going to be fair? Because let's just be honest, as it is right now, more than half of the CFP, not necessarily the championships, but the semifinals have been won by double digits or blowouts or whatever. I mean, we've really only had 2 or 3 close games. And I know everyone wants to sit there and say how I don't know if they want to say if it's fair or not. Beautiful sunset out tonight. But for the most part, we've had blowouts. So are we going to have better matchups to start out the 12-team playoffs, like the first rounds where it's going to be really fun to watch, and then it's just going to get boring as the games go on? But that's probably what they'll discuss here. We'll see.
Or opportunities for some other conferences, or do you think it's going to be more SEC, more Big Ten teams that we're seeing in this expanded?
Oh, they're talking about conferences, but that's still interesting.
Playoff.
I think it'll be both.
What's up, K-Dog?
Bob Bowlesby, the old Big 12 commissioner who helped research this, present it, and mold it, actually, with 3 other stakeholders, said on November 1st of any given year, there would be 30 or 35 teams in competition. Now, I looked at that on November 1st this year. There were about 20 to 25, but still, think about that many teams having hope of playing in a national championship playoff. That will be good for the access. Will there be more, SECs and Big Tens? Absolutely. There's going to be the 6 automatic highest-ranked teams get in. That's basically your Power 5 and what has been the winner of the.
What?
It's right outside your window.
Oh, wow.
Pranced off, but he was right out there.
That's so cool.
American Athletics as it has been right now,
Grandmother saw a deer, and we got a beautiful sunset.
but then 6 open spots. You would expect multiples from the SEC and Big Ten.
Hey, Alabama
It
too,
also
Kevin.
opens the door for the likes of a Coastal Carolina, 12-1. As I mentioned, this.
Okay, we're going to stop watching this one. I mean, I'll watch it on my own, but basically he goes on to talk about, the benefits, like who it's going to benefit. You're going to get the Power 5 champions. You're going to get the highest ranked group of 5. You'll get a couple other group of 5s in. He just mentioned Coastal Carolina. I think number one, how many times have we sat there on Selection Sunday and there's honestly been a debate about, what's the debate? Who should get the 4th spot? And we've sat there and there's such a debate and, damn. I mean, seriously, you know how easier it's going to be? You don't have to worry about, if you can't figure out who should get the 12th spot in the playoffs, there's something seriously wrong with college football. They'll have it figured out what the 12 teams are. Question is, um, how do you order the Power Five conference winners? Do you go Big Ten first? Do you go SEC first? Do you go ACC? Do you go the best records or resumes? And I guess you kind of work and build from there. That's possible. So we're talking here at Ballard Sports Media tonight, breaking down the 12-team playoff expansion in 2024. What does it mean for everyone? What's up, Jacob Watson? He says, I don't like it. The whole fun of college football is to see good teams miss the playoffs, and that won't happen anymore. You make a good point there, actually. You gotta think like we'll drop the link here. I do want to get some people on. You think about like when I'm trying to think of what it was. Okay, 2017 is a good example. 2017. Alabama won the championship, but they got the fourth spot, right? They didn't even win their conference. Ohio State, I think, had 2 losses, and they missed the playoffs by winning the Big Ten. What? Crazy. That could have been a good team to make the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, to Jacob's point, I mean, we see good teams miss the playoffs all the time. Let me go back and find some of the polls that we've had. Only like 1 or 2 seasons, and this is fair. 1 or 2 seasons have we had that, we've gotten the 4 best teams, truly. 2020 is even a good example. I know it was all about Alabama that year, but I want you to rewind real quick. Let's take a step back 2 years ago in the COVID year. Alabama gets in number 1. Clemson got in at number 2. Ohio State only played 6 games and they got in. Notre Dame got in with 1 loss. But people were debating, should it be Texas A&M, whose only loss was Alabama? You had a 9-0 Cincinnati team. You had a 11-0 Coastal team. You had a 10-1 BYU. You had a 5-1 USC. You had a 9-1 Louisiana Raging Cajuns. You had a couple different teams that were 1 loss or undefeated that you could have put in that 4th spot. It ended up going to Notre Dame. So let me go back to what did Jacob say? The whole fun of the college football playoff is to see good teams miss the playoffs, and that won't happen anymore. That's true. That is true. Because it always makes you wonder, right? Like, there's no longer going to be this what-if factor in college football now with the expanded playoffs. And what I mean by that is, what if this team had made it instead of this team? Would they have won the semifinal? Would they have gone? What if? There's no longer going to be a what-if factor starting in 2024. You're going to get 12 teams in. You're going to get all your conference champions. You're going to get at-large group of 5 and Power 5 teams. And then the teams left out, like, there's not really going to be much complaining or debate for the final spot of the playoffs, there's not. And so you have I'm trying to think of how I want to put this. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. There's not going to be a what if factor basically with the 12-team playoff. You have that now with a 14 playoff. You have that now. Well, what if we had put this one-loss team in over this team? And this whole resume crap, like the whole who have they played and, this team's played better teams and competition, so they deserve the playoffs more. And just the criteria is really ridiculous, I think. That's a good question, K-Dog. Will conferences reduce their regular season games? Now, I don't know if you're talking about conference games or if you're talking about overall, like from 12 to like 10 weeks. That's a good question. I guess it depends on what you mean by that. Are you talking about because of the calendar and having to move up the playoffs and and I mean, I don't really see a reason to reduce regular season games other than trying to make sure you make it to the playoff on time based on calendar. No, Kevin. No. We're not getting rid of conference championship games. We'll get rid of divisions. We won't get rid of conference championship games. Jacob says he thinks the season might start sooner. It's possible. I don't know if you could start the season like you do now, but it definitely with expanded playoffs, you're instead of ending on like January 7th, you're ending more so probably on January. Well, that's a bad example. When's the championship this year? It's like the 10th or 11th, something like that. It might even be the 9th. It's right there in the second Monday of January. Instead of that, it'll be like the third or fourth Monday in January. And you might have a shortened off season. Just a little bit, which I guess for us fans, that's a good thing. But I don't know, man. There's a lot to wrap. There's a lot to unfold, and there's a lot to talk about in all this. So it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. All we know is with the 12 teams, you can get the conference winners, right? You can get a group of 5 team in if it's like a UCF, Coastal Carolina, or a Cincinnati. You can get those teams in. You know that. I can't speak on behalf of scheduling. I don't know that part. Yeah. Sorry, Ballard, but conferences might get rid of their conference championship games because it could hurt them in a 12-team system, unlike how it helps them in a 4-team system. Let me think about this. It hurts them in a 12-team system because they're going to take the best records. Having an extra like conference title or anything, it's not going to matter. Basically, Jacob, I guess. I guess that's what I hope that's what you're saying. If I get that right, let me see. For example, Clemson and Kansas State would make it in a 12-team system, although if they lose their conference championship games, they would miss the 12-team playoffs. So it makes it more See, because remember in the COVID year when the ACC took in Notre Dame for one season and Notre Dame lost the ACC title and they still made the playoff. You know how much that pissed me off? Honestly. Like, it's going to matter now. It is going to matter so much to win your conference. Because part of the criteria is we're taking the 5 Power 5 conference champions. Then we're taking the group of 5. You know, do we take – what if we took like a Mountain West like Boise State or someone? Or we took from the American Conference Cincinnati or Coastal or Tulane or I don't know, pick a team. I think I see what you're saying. And again, I'll read this example. Clemson and Kansas State would make it in a 12-team playoff. Although if they lose their conference championship games, they would miss the 12 teams. And of course, because they take the conference champions. Notre Dame played for the ACC title. Good one, Kevin. That's good, man. Conferences also might get rid of their conference championship games to avoid upsets and have their best team get the bye week. Yeah, maybe. So we want to talk tonight, of course, you know, breaking it down a little bit. What does it mean for every conference? What does it mean for every team? Does the Big 12, they can finally win a playoff game. How exciting is this? The Big 12 should be most happy about it. The SEC could get 2 to 3 teams in. If you get at-large teams, like, for example, this year, forget records for a second. Let's say Clemson wins on Saturday. By the way, we'll go live for that game. If Clemson wins, you got North Carolina. Forget their record for a second. Let's say if it was their first loss. Would you consider a conference runner-up an at-large team? I guess it would depend. If they have a good enough resume, I would. We'll see. Kevin and Jacob having a conversation. Also, I made this banner. Or did I cover this already? Let me see. Hold on. Let me check something. So what does this mean for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide? I mean, you can't possibly expect them to fall too far, right? I mean, at worst in 2019, I think they ended up being the 12th team. They'd at least have to be an at-large team every single year, right? Tell me, I'm kind of doing this as a joke, but at the same time, you know that Alabama. Look, there's some people on that committee. I don't care who you are. You love some Alabama. You love the revenue. You love the money that comes in. K-Dog says Alabama will miss the playoffs when Saban retires. Like that's ever going to happen at this point, K-Dog. Alabama's just going to keep winning. First off, they're not on a losing track. I mean, they've lost 2 games this year, but like, come on. I mean, they just made the CFP last season. I know they lost to Georgia. It was just meant for Georgia. I'll give you guys props. But I mean, if you got 12 spots, I mean, Alabama would have to really screw up to not get a nod, right? That's fair. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Anyway, so I've said my piece. I'm excited for the 12-team playoff 2024. Let me see. Why did that not make the noise? Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, I can hear you too. There we go.
Yeah, this is crazy news, but I mean, this was expected. I mean, I've expected this for the last year, ever since it was announced.
Oh, we knew it was going to expand. What we didn't know was they were going to move it up because it was originally set for 2026, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I mean, it became official. I think it was probably a month before this season, and then they finally decided when this was going to happen. It's going to be 2024. I mean, I get why they're doing it. They're doing it for money, and they're doing it because teams 5, 6, 7 are upset because they have great teams, but they missed the playoffs because they lost an extra regular season game or their conference title game, whatever. And that's why they're doing this. They're my take on it is I don't like how. I mean, the regular season's going to be watered down. I mean, the whole fun of the regular season is see good teams miss the playoffs. Now, we're not going to see that anymore.
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum put out a tweet right as his show went on the air. He said the new 12-team college football playoff model goes into effect in 2024. It takes the 6 highest ranked conference champions and 6 at-large teams. The only question I have is what, like, I kind of had a banner, but what do you think makes the best at-large team? Like, what qualifies a team to be at large and still have a good enough case to be one of those teams?
Well, at-large teams are teams that don't win their conference championship. So, let's just say TCU were to lose their Big 12 title game, they'd be the best at-large team, right?
Yeah.
So that's what at-large is. And they're also doing this because they want to include the group of 5. That's why they're doing 6 conference champions, so that they can do that. And,
Yeah.
if you're going to have 12 teams, why not? You might as well do it. And what gets worse about this is how conferences might get rid of their conference championship game.
Yeah. And that, I've heard that too. Doesn't that kind of do away with what the whole point of expanding it is, though?
Well, right now the
The
conference.
point is so you get the conference champions.
Well,
Part of it, at least.
Well, this year and every other year of the conference title games, it's been seen as an extra playoff game. But some years it's kind of been a redemption. A console like for Georgia, it's not a playoff game. For Michigan, it's not a playoff game. For TCU and USC, though, it kind of is an extra playoff game. Um, but conference title games, it kind of see as an extra playoff game. But if we're going to expand the 12 teams, it wouldn't really hold that anymore. But like I said about Clemson and Kansas State, Clemson's 9 in the rankings. Kansas State is 10th. If we had a 12-team system right now, they would make the 12-team playoff, and a group of 5 team would make it over, and so they'd probably be 10 and 11. But if they both lose their conference championship games, they're going to fall out the top 12. And Clemson is expected to win. Kansas State is not. But, that would be an extra team that the Big 12 loses because TCU beats them in a Big 12 title game. If North Carolina upsets Clemson, which is very possible, I can't wait to watch that game. But if that were to happen, the ACC would, lose a team. Well, no, they wouldn't because they'd get North Carolina in, but they'd still lose who they think their best team is, Clemson.
Yeah.
If Utah were to beat USC, okay, that's great. Utah makes the playoff, but now USC doesn't get a bye anymore. So your best team is having to play in the first round. So you see what I mean?
Yeah, and in case anyone's wondering why he uses these teams, you're using this year as a great example for the basis going forward for what we could see for the selection process and what we'll have with 12 teams.
Yes. And, Kansas State were to beat TCU, well, then the Big 12's best team is not getting a bye anymore. Now they have to play in the first round, so it's kind of like, conference championship games. I think in a 4-team system, it kind of helps you. Because we saw back in 2014 when the Big 12 didn't have a conference title game, Ohio State made it over Baylor and TCU because, well, they didn't have a conference championship game. So Ohio State had to win, and they made it. 2011, let's go back to the BCS system. Oklahoma State would have made it over Alabama had they played a conference championship game. But there was no conference title game, so Alabama got in over Oklahoma State. But I think in a 12-team system, it could honestly hurt you.
It probably could.
That's what I'm thinking. But
yeah, it'll definitely be something to watch. I'm excited. Honestly, there's a lot of people out there against 12 teams. I think it's good because it should take stress off the committee. But at least in that first round, when you have I guess you'll have the first 4 teams get a bye. So you'll have 5 and 12, 6 and 11, 7 and 10, and you'll meet in the middle with 8 and 9. The possibility of some upsets there. How cool that would be to see teams advance to the next round.
Yeah, but the thing is I'd rather see these teams play in a bowl game and just lead the playoffs to the top 4. No offense to these teams, but if you're finishing the season rankings 5 through 12, you're obviously not the best team in the country. Have we ever looked at
true? That is true.
Have we ever looked at the final BCS rankings or the final CFP rankings or the final AP poll rankings and said, man, I really think that 5th ranked team is the best team in the country? No, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And we're talking about 5th. When is the 12th ranked team ever the best team in the country? At least in the BCS era, there was times where the 3rd ranked team in the country was thought to be the best team in the country by many people. We've never thought the 5th, the 12th, the 8th best team, though. Right. We've never thought they were the best team in the country. So I don't know why they're making the playoffs. I mean, well, I know why. You know, it's just my opinion. I don't think they should make it to the playoffs.
No, they probably shouldn't. I mean, that's a valid opinion, and it's probably a popular opinion. But obviously, I mean, here's the bottom line. And we'll wrap this up because I do got to go eat dinner. But the bottom line, I'll say, is you're going to have more football games. You're going to have criteria. You're going to have these teams get in this 12-team playoff. And there's going to be people that hate it. There's going to be people that love it. There's going to be people that are maybe neutral that probably don't care because their team's not in, or maybe they don't have a specific team. I don't know, but it's expanding. And whether you like it or not, you just got to suck it up.
Well, yeah, and I want to at least give it a chance first because I was a little questionable about the transfer portal at first, and now I've kind of grown to like it. So maybe once I experience it, maybe I'll change my mind. But my stance right now is I'd rather it stay at 4 teams.
Yes, Cody. He asked if we still have conversation. Well, that's the point. They're
We
part of it. Part of it is they're taking the highest ranked conference champions.
Well, we can have conference championship games, but I'm just saying. I've already pointed it out with the Clemson and Kansas State example. How if they lost their conference championship games, they'd be out of what a 12-team playoff if there was one already, and how it could really hurt conferences. And basically what I said is 14 playoff, it could help you, but a 12-team playoff might hurt you. So that if we lose that, that's going to be really sad because I really like conference championship games. I think they're honestly important. And that would be really sad if we lose that, but I think it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Group of 5 is not getting rid of their conference championship games. That's what I know. They need theirs.
They need theirs because they don't have any strength of schedule to back up their resumes. The best thing they have on a resume is that they have a conference champion.
Yeah, because they only get one. Group of 5 as a whole only gets one team in. Unless there's 2 teams in the top 12. But so they need their conference championship games to promote their best team as much as possible. But Power 5, I mean, Hamas Hero says the 4 seed has won it twice. But who's to say the 5th, 6th team could have? Well, name a 5th or 6th ranked team that would have won it. I can't find any. There's a difference, honestly, between the 4th ranked team and the 5th and 6th best teams. I've never found a 5th or 6th ranked team that we thought was the best team in the country. That's just never happened before.
Wait, how is the 4th? I know Alabama was the 4th seed in 2017. Oh, the initial playoff. Ohio State. Ohio State was 4 in 2014, and they won it all.
I mean, the reason why we had to go to 4 teams in the first place is because 2003, people thought USC was the best team, and they missed it. 2004, people thought
people got sick of the computer ranks.
Yeah, in 2011, people thought Oklahoma State was the best team. In 2007, people thought Georgia was the best team. 1999, people think Kansas State best team. All this and that, 2000, people think Miami's the best team. That's why we expanded to 4 in the first place. But no one's gone around saying, I think that 5th ranked team is the best team in the country. We just don't say that because that just never happens.
Yep, I agree.
And
well, Jacob thinks. What do you have to say, real quick?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's going 12 by 2024. I do want to experience it. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know, but my stance right now is that if you're one of the 4 best teams in the country, in some years 4. I mean, there's not 4 teams that we believe can win the Natty this year, but I don't think it should expand because I just think 5 through 12 is just they should be in New Year's Six bowls, not the play. And I think the regular season is going to become watered down, which I'm going to hate
No,
to
it's
see that.
definitely going to be watered down. It's not going to mean as much.
Yeah, I'm going to hate to see that. Like 2013 Iron Bowl. Sorry to bring it up, but that's the
Yeah.
perfect example. Why that game would not matter at all had we be in a 12-team playoff then.
Alabama still would have made it.
Yeah. What would be the point of the whole kick six?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I'll bring up a game that you're probably proud of, the 2009 SEC title game where y'all beat Florida. What would be the point of that game with a 12-team playoff? It wouldn't be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could pick and choose all day long in the BCS era, even in the playoff era. A couple games here or there that just like you look at ranks in the regular season and you're just kind of shake your head like, what's the point?
Basically what it's going to be is, hey, good job for beating this team. Good job for being a top 5 team in your conference title game. Now your reward is you get to play 4 more teams in the 12-team play.
Yeah.
Well, no, you get a bye week. Still, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a money grab as well. I think that's the main reason why they're doing it. I think they're also doing it because people complaining about all these good teams missing the playoffs and, these teams that are missing it that won't win a national title, but they're a good team, so we got to let them in. At some point, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th ranked teams are going to get upset. We're going to have to expand to 16 or 20 or, I don't know.
Absolutely. We're not expanding past 12 teams, but of course, there's going to be those teams that get left out that are going to try to complain and make a case why we have to expand some more. But hey, Jacob, listen, man, I got to go eat dinner. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate everyone who showed up in the chat. Comment if you're watching this back. Let me know what you guys think about the 12-team playoffs because I'm kind of excited, but at the same time, if we're going to have a bunch of blowouts and it's not going to make a whole lot of difference,
That's what we're going to have.
What's that?
That's what we're going to have outside of the first round.
Yeah. That's most likely it.
But here's the thing, it's happening no matter what we think, and we're just going to have to find the best out of it,
Right. I agree.
I'm not going to do much more complaining after these next couple of days because there's going to be no point to complain. It's already happening. So it's like, what are you complaining for? So Ohio State was not the best team in 2018.
Nope.
Georgia was better than them that year. They missed the playoffs. So.
And they had Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorgia story. My point about the Iron Bowl, the FC title, and all that is that the team that loses would still get they wouldn't get a bye, but they'd still make the playoffs after losing their biggest game. And should they really? Teams have lost their biggest game and they've made the 14th playoff, but that's because they've pretty much dominated in all their other games. Ohio State would not even be in discussion right now had they not beaten every other team by double digits.
I agree with Hummus Hero here. People act like upsets don't happen. Ridiculous take that it will all be blowouts.
It will all be blowout. When has an upset ever happened upsets don't happen in a team's biggest game. They barely happen.
Hold on. I just got through telling you the 2nd and 26 year Alabama upset Clemson.
Well, Alabama's the better team though.
Not according to being the 4th seed.
Alabama was the 4th seed because they lost the Iron Bowl. You know, they were favored by what was it? Were they favored by 4 points against Clemson? You know,
Yeah, it was something like that.
wasn't an upset. It was just, Alabama screwed up, and they were still the better team. I mean,
What's up, guys?
So
oh, congratulations, Michigan.
Not
man.
much, man. Yeah. I think. I kind of actually feel bad for Hummus, actually.
I never feel sorry for my fans. I'm sorry.
Honest hero, there's a difference between a big upset in the regular season and a big upset in the semifinals, the quarterfinals. That's just not going to happen. Teams are going to be ready for those games. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Am I lagging? I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I was actually wanting a good game, and for the game, I know it's like 2 weeks ago or whatever, a week ago. And we had a good game, in the first quarter and the first half, we had a good game, and then my Wolverines just, took away with the W as a win. But I don't know if you heard this. Ballard and is it Will? No, not Will. Jacob, right?
Jacob. Yeah. Jacob.
Sorry. Yeah, Jacob. I don't know if you all know knew this. Blake Horn is out for the season.
I did see that news, and it honestly, man, it shouldn't make much of a difference on Saturday. But I think depending on who you play, you might need him for the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, you have Donovan Edwards. He's not bad.
he's not that bad, no. And plus, and people say, "Oh, he's just a backup." Bro,
I feel like I've been hearing Donovan Edwards for like 10 years, dude. How long has he been there?
Yeah,
this is sophomore year. A sophomore.
Hero.
He's a sophomore. Boom.
I think you're thinking of Braylon Edwards, his father. I think.
Maybe that sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Hey,
So he's related to Braylon Edwards because that's dad. Because he played. Yeah.
There's a difference between that and then an 8 seed beating a 1 seed or a 7 seed beating a 2 seed. Those stuff are just not going to happen.
No.
That's my whole point. Yes, that was an upset, but there's just a difference. That's why it should stay at 4 teams, because the fourth best team in the country some years can beat the number 1 team in the country. The 7th or 8th team or the 12th ranked team is never beating the number 1 team. That's my whole point.
So, what's your take? I know. What's your take on the 12-team playoff in 2023 or 24? I don't know.
I mean, that's basically what we've been talking about this whole time. I mean, I'm for it, but the only thing that I would have against it is if we do end up like if you're going to start out with 12 teams, 4 teams get a bye. The first 4 get a bye. Okay, no problem with that. But when the 12th seed pulls an upset and they got to go play number 1 or number 2, and it's not even close. And it's not even close. It's not fair. And that's really the only issue I have is you might as well have just kept it at 4. Or at least gone to 8. Maybe 12 is too much.
Or 6 or something like that. But I think ideal is 6 or 8. So I think but I think the college football playoff committee just, you know what, it says, you know what? Let's make our fans happy. That's all.
You know, I don't think a 16 playoff would be the end of the world. Even though I like 4 better, I
Well,
don't think it would be that bad. But 12,
you know, thinking about yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead, Jacob.
hold on, I'm reading what Hummus Hero said. Once I said there's a difference between a number 1 team getting caught off guard in October and then a number 1 team losing a quarterfinal game to an 8 seed. That's just not going to happen. That's not happening in the playoffs. Like I said, with the year Ohio State beat Alabama, that's pretty much the limit. The 4th best team in the country can beat the best team in the country in a semifinal game. The 8th ranked team, 7th ranked team, 6th ranked team, 5th ranked team, they're not beating the 2 and the 1 seed. They're just not. You know?
You know, I'm actually against that, but I get where you're going with this, Jacob. I'm a little against what you're saying, but not in that way. But I think upsets can happen to the not the number 1 team, but maybe the number 2 team. To be honest, but like you said about the number 1 team, I don't think they, would upset. Let's say USC didn't upset Georgia, but it was still close, like 35-31 or something like that. But
Trust
still,
me, the number 3 and 4 ranked teams aren't upsetting the number 1 team this year. Some years they could, but not this year. There's just a gap between 3 and 4 and the 1 and 2 teams this year. And I think, honestly, there's a little gap between Georgia and Michigan, but Michigan is respectfully a very elite team. So
a very what?
very elite team.
Oh, no, it's a week. Wait, what?
No. I mean, and now that after looking at his profile picture, I think Hummus Hero's an Ohio State fan. He's got the state of Ohio and the scarlet and silver. And all that. So
I mean, that's cool. I respect his program and or his team, but I mean, well, I won't say that. I should have said that.
well, but I'm going to use an example for the Ohio State-Michigan game. Yes, I think Ohio State is one of the best 4 teams this year. But what's the whole fun of the regular season is to see those types of teams miss the playoffs. That's what made the Ohio State game so important. You know?
Yep.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'm gonna end the stream. We got dinner ready, but
okay.
it's always good to see you guys. Final words though, yes or no on the 12 team. Final thoughts. Go.
No.
Yes.
I've said too much, so.
All right.
All right. I say yes, and have a good night, Ballard, and happy early holidays.
Yes. Welcome to December.
Have a good one.
Okay, hold on. Hummus here. I gotta say one more thing. The difference between getting upset in October, and getting upset in January is in January a team is fully locked in the playoffs. Whether in the quarterfinals, semifinals, they're locked in. They're not locked in the entire regular season, which is why we see those upsets. But that's just not going to happen in the playoffs. And if you can't understand that, I don't have anything else to say. But Ohio State's been the 5th and 6th ranked team a lot in recent years, so it makes sense why you want to expand it anyways. But I mean, my team's always going to be number 1 or number 2, so 3, not even 3, but okay. All right, I'm saying too much. Thanks for letting me on. Go eat dinner, and when Georgia wins the national championship, I'll talk to you again.
All right. See you in 41 years.
41 years. All right. See ya. Go Dogs.
See you, man. Just saying. I mean, based on history, it's been 40 years every time. All right. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan for your life. Trust and believe that. Keep your head up. Comment down below. If you're watching this back and not watching it live, comment down below what you think about the 12-team playoff. And would definitely love to hear your opinions. I'm going to go eat dinner. Y'all have a blessed night. And like I said, welcome to December. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Ballard Sports Media. Check it out. See ya.